Local Durham politicians react to Russia-Ukraine conflict. Dan Kearns, local journalism initiative reporter for The Standard, North Durham. Local politicians have provided their thoughts and reactions following Russia's military attack on Ukraine. In a Facebook post, Scugog Mayor Bobby Drew wrote that Scugog Council stands with the Government of Canada and the countries around the world in condemning the attacks and violence that Russia has taken upon Ukraine. Her post adds, "This unprovoked attack on Ukraine and on the people of Ukraine saddens my heart and raises grave concerns regarding the future." At the start of a meeting on Monday, February 28th, Brock Township Mayor John Grant asked residents to keep in our minds and hearts the people of Ukraine. In a statement released on Thursday, February 24th, Durham Regional Chair John Henry sympathized with Ukrainian Canadians. As these shocking events continue to unfold in Ukraine, our hearts break for the innocent victims who are impacted. Ukrainian Canadians are an integral part of what makes this country and Durham region a better place to call home. I stand in sorrow with Durham region's Ukrainian community and with the people of Ukraine. Our thoughts continue to be with those who have been unjustly affected. We continue to stand against unnecessary aggression and violence, because we are stronger when we stand together for peace and unity, his statement read.
Join March Break Camps in Uxbridge 2022. Courtney McClure, The Standard. Uxbridge. Registration for March Break Camps in Uxbridge opened on February 16, 2022. This March break, the Township is committed to providing Uxbridge locals with safe and fun camps. The Township and camp staff continue to adhere to provincial and local guidelines. And they would like staff, families, and campers to know plans for March break camps aren't set in stone. The programs are fluid, as is COVID-19. However, camp staff will make an effort to keep participants informed about camp programs and activities. Camp staff will disinfect high-touch areas as needed. All shared and reusable equipment will be thoroughly cleaned and sanitized as needed. Currently, the Uxbridge March Break campers will be separated into cohorts. These cohorts will remain consistent during March Break, and cohorts will not be allowed to interact with other campers from separate cohorts. Proper hand hygiene is encouraged for all campers and staff members. All participants are asked to wash their hands before and after eating and touching shared equipment. Alcohol-based hand rub with 60 to 90% alcohol concentration will be used as needed. All visitors entering the program must practice physical distance measures. Physical distancing is not required between cohort members, but a physical distance of 2 meters must be maintained between individuals from different cohorts. All staff, campers, and outside visitors must wear face coverings. This does not include when people are eating, drinking, or with their cohort. Some exceptions will be made for any medical conditions or special needs which restrict them from wearing a mask or face covering. Staff and campers do not have to wear a mask while outside, but cohorts should maintain a 2-meter distance between themselves and other cohorts. Anyone entering the March Break Camp program must be screened for COVID-19 every day. If possible, screening should be completed on an electronic basis, but this should be done before arriving at camp for the day. If the program you're trying to register for is full, individuals are encouraged to register on the program waitlist. There may be a cancellation from another camper, or COVID-19 guidelines may become less restrictive. For registration assistance, please call 905-852-7831. If you have other inquiries, please contact camps@uxbridge.ca.
Lindsay Tree's awarded heritage designation. Jamie Morris, Canopy Project of Kawartha Lakes volunteer, Kawartha Lakes. The 5 sycamore trees lining Victoria Avenue, just north of Peel Street, have been given heritage tree status by Forests Ontario, a distinction only bestowed on about 100 trees in southern and central Ontario. The trees are well known to Lindsay residents and are often remarked upon by visitors. Sycamores are eastern North America's largest deciduous trees. These 5 132-year-old trees dominate the skyline as you look north from Victoria Park or the farmer's market. Their canopies arch across to the boulevard, and the mottled patchwork appearance of the trunks makes the trees instantly recognizable. The species exfoliates and regularly sloughs off bark. With the approval of the city's Parks Department, the trees were nominated by the Canopy Project Kawartha Lakes, CPKL. The CPKL is a volunteer-led community group whose goal is to protect and enhance the urban canopy in the City of Kawartha Lakes settlement areas for heritage tree status with Forests Ontario. They join roughly 100 trees from across southern and central Ontario, including 3 from our region. A bur oak which may date back 380 years, marking the head of the Fenland Portage during fur trade days, and can be seen at Maryborough Lodge, where it's known as the Grand Old Lady. A 130-year-old white ash in Balsam Park, and a sugar maple near Port Perry on the ancestral lands of the Mississauga First Nations. To be eligible, the trees had to meet criteria set by Forests Ontario. A tree could qualify as a prominent community landmark, as a noble specimen because of its size, form, shape, beauty, age, color, variety, genetic constitution, or other distinctive feature, or because of association with an historic person. The sycamores qualify on all 3 counts. Local landmarks for sure, but also noble specimens. Lindsay is outside their normal hardiness zone, and sycamores don't normally grow this far north. In a letter of support for the application, Tom Mickle, coordinator of Fleming College's Urban Forestry Program, described the trees as incredible specimens and the highlight on his annual Lindsay field walks with students. For most students, he noted, this is the first time they may be seeing an American sycamore, P. accidentalis, in real life, and almost certainly their first time seeing one so massive. The historic person associated with the trees is Richard Sylvester, who planted the trees as 2-year-old saplings in 1892. He and his brother operated Sylvester Manufacturing, the factory which stood in the space now occupied by Tim Hortons, Home Hardware, and Lindsay Dry Cleaners, made agricultural and farm implements, and employed roughly 100 residents. Mr. Sylvester lived in the large white brick house at the corner visible to the west of the trees. His donation to the town of the land which became Victoria Park was a significant contribution to the community. Planting those sycamores back in 1892 was another important contribution. The final word goes to Tom Mickle. The forethought someone had in leaving this legacy over a century ago is astounding. Are you interested in learning more about these and other notable local trees? Join the Winter Tree ID Walk Friday, March 4th at 11 a.m. The meeting point is the Victoria Park Gazebo, and the walk will be led by Tom Mickle and Jack Radicke, a consulting arborist and former executive director of the Ontario Urban Forest Council. After checking out the park's trees, it will be on to the sycamores and then other trees within easy walking distance.
Ontario intends to eliminate license plate renewal fees. Dan Kearns, Local Journalism Initiative reporter for The Standard. Durham Kawartha Lakes. The Ontario government plans to get rid of license plate renewal fees. We are eliminating license plate renewal fees and scrapping the requirement to have a license plate sticker for passenger vehicles, light-duty trucks, motorcycles, and mopeds. On top of that, we are going to refund what you've paid to renew your stickers for the past 2 years. Ontario Premier Doug Ford announced at a press conference on Tuesday, February 22nd. Premier Ford explained why the government is deciding to make this change. The best place for your money is in your pocket, not the government's pocket, he said. We know the rising cost of living has made many things more expensive and can make it harder for families to make ends meet. Government officials also stated how residents could make sure they receive their refund. To receive a refund, drivers will have to confirm the address on their license is up to date on ontario.ca/address change. There's also a dedicated line at Service Ontario at 888-333-0049, the Premier explained. Any outstanding tickets or fines will also have to be covered before you can receive your refund. The decision is expected to cost the government over $1 million in revenue. However, Premier Ford said this would allow residents to have more money to spend in the Ontario economy. That's $1 billion that's going back into the economy, Premier Ford stated. You might be able to spend it a lot wiser than the government. Matter of fact, I know people can spend their money a lot wiser than the government, all 3 levels of government. Exercise after COVID, moving forward. Lauren Walker, special to the Standard. I have clients coming back after being off during the pandemic. I published an article on this a little while ago. I thought it best to cover the subject again, as I've noticed more people coming back. You may have reservations about getting active again, so let's talk about it. Fitness level. If you haven't been physically active over the pandemic, then I would treat you as a beginner. The objective with any beginner is to assess your fitness level. You're not going to be where you were. I would assess where you're at currently, which I refer to as a base. We start from that base and gradually work our way up. This base is different for everybody. I always design a program based on the needs of the individual. Mental health concerns. A lot of my returning clients are mentally stressed, which in turn affects physical wellness. Anxiety and depression on top of physical ailments affect your exercise routine. Exercise is recommended to help improve feelings of depression and anxiety. Like medicine, it needs to be prescribed properly. Physical health concerns. Perhaps you've been diagnosed with a health issue. This ranges from person to person. Depending on your physical health, an appropriate exercise routine can help. We have experience with a range of physical ailments such as heart conditions, diabetes, and arthritis. Personal training. Most people coming back are lost as to where to begin. This is where I come in. All the factors listed above must be taken into account before you begin. I always encourage common sense. We must start with where you are at and work up from there. With a bit of direction, my clients have transitioned successfully. I look forward to seeing you back in the gym.
The Standard Podcast was produced by Greenstream Studio for the Standard newspaper.